Hello, I'm Jonathan Marmor. In addition to doing a number of other things, I helped to organize a monthly music hackathon in New York City called, of all things, Monthly Music Hackathon N.Y.C, believe it or not. The goal with this event is to get a bunch of people from different communities within New York City who have interest in diving deep into music with technology or otherwise, to all sort of gather together once a month and develop ideas around music tech or just around music in general. And like we're seeing in this crowd here today, in New York, like London, we have people who are doing music science, and we have people who are making music, and we have programmers who are interested in music, and we have people from all sorts of backgrounds who are interested in using the most modern technology to figure out how music works and to make new art with that new knowledge and that new data. And so these groups aren't really talking to each other that much in New York, or they are, but maybe it's happening just inside of universities. So the goal with this project is to just get people talking to each other in a more informal atmosphere, get them creating new projects together, and basically getting feedback from each other, iterating through projects, and just basically creating new ideas, creating new work. So really, what is a hackathon? You probably all know because you just witnessed the competition or the ceremony for the prizes for a hackathon that was going on downstairs. But I think it's important to think about what it is and its origins and how it could be pertinent to our lives. And really, so these are events that were created by computer science students and software companies as a way for students to learn about how to making software and how to make a product and to go through the life cycle of making a product and basically learn every step and get practice prototyping. So also another issue is that when you do a hackathon, you really have to take ownership of your project. It's not something that's assigned to you. It's your own thing. It's coming out of your own work. So it's a ton of fun. But it's frequently, because the participants have financially valuable skills, the events are usually super well funded. They're attended by recruiters and like corporate product sharks. There's lots of advertising, lots of competition for prizes, a lot of sort of materialistic things going on, and not so much focused on art. And as a musician, a person with a music background, going to a music hackathon and finding it's basically mostly entrepreneurs and branding people who want to, music industry people. There's nothing wrong with that world at all. I participate in it, but it's a little discouraging. I was interested in hacking on art, in moving art forward, moving forward our understanding of music, and not so much thinking of ways that we can just regurgitate and resell things that already exist. I want to experiment with art itself. And so I've been going, I've gone to tons of music hackathons and this Music Hack Day series that happens all over the world every couple of months. It's a great series. I love it. But it's a little bit more focused on businesses and not so much focused on art. And even when people are making art in these venues, and we saw this a little bit today, it's being presented as a demo. It's not being presented as art. And if the goal of art is for people to have transformative experiences, to change people's lives in some way, or the way that they think about something, and that's one possible definition of art. When you present something as a demo, I think it can reduce the impact of the art, and I think it's important to think of the results of a hackathon as art. And the great American glitch artist, I don't know if you guys know this guy, Philip David Stearns, once said, "Come on, electronic and media art, I want less effect and more affect." So he wants less sort of dry presentation and more emotion. He wants things to be a little bit more romantic. And so he was saying there are two common paradigms in digital art. There's demo mode and there's funny mirror mode. And if you can find pieces which do not fall into either of these categories, you'll understand what he means by affect. And demo mode he defines as, look at this technology, what this technology can do. Isn't it cool? And funny mirror is, look how you wave your arms around and affect the piece. Ooh, I can go like this, and it sweeps a filter over. And I think sometimes people who haven't been through the like rigorous art training think that art is something they can't do, or it's something special that needs to be like blessed or sanctified. And I think that's totally incorrect. And art can be anything we decide is art. And I think people who are making technology projects with music need to realize that the thing that they're making is art, and it should be presented and framed and staged as such. The other problem with the Music Hack Day series is that it doesn't happen where I live all the time. It's elsewhere, and it's not happening continuously. And so what we really wanted to do is have basically a meetup, a local gathering where we could get to know each other, iterate through our projects, and basically get better every time. Have some continuity rather than a one-off thing that happens in some faraway place once or twice a year. And so we do some things that are a little bit different from a standard hackathon in order to achieve the things that I've just listed. The first is that rather than having prizes and a competition, we end the day with a concert of what we came up with. So we make stuff all day, and at the end of the day, whatever it is, we have a concert. And it generally ends up being about a quarter talking and about 3/4 music. But I think that's much more entertaining generally than 3/4 talking and 1/4 music. And so, yeah, no competition, no prizes, no advertising, no swag, no T-shirts, no posters, no banners, no recruiting, no API pitches, product pitches. We want to keep this about the contributions of the participants. It's not about the contributions of the companies that are sponsoring. So really, we're just trying to develop this community. It's more of a grassroots thing than a sort of pre-planned advertising, recruiting sort of meat shop. And the concept is bring your own idea. Work on whatever you like. There's no need to have your idea, your project that you work on conform to some predefined standards. Really, you can bring whatever you want. And the whole event is totally free form. There's no scheduling, no planning, except at the end of the day, we have a concert. So if you feel like organizing something, getting a group together, planning a project ahead of time, you can do that. You're welcome to, but you do it on your own and just present at the concert. So we've been trying some new stuff recently, in addition to this very free-form approach. So we've been having special guests in residence. They're usually music performance ensembles or composers or artists working with tech or engineers working with art. We have scientists who are specializing in music who have come in. And then we're having more organized events around specific subjects. Like last month, we had a jazz and technology forum where we invited a bunch of researchers who are doing music information retrieval studies on jazz at Columbia University, and we invited a bunch of working professional jazz musicians to come in and sort of mix together with the interactive artists and musicians that we normally have at our hack days and come up with projects based specifically on jazz. And we had some amazing stuff. We had a project that takes a corpus of 1,800 jazz standard lead sheets, so just chords and melodies in notation form, and does some machine learning statistical analysis on these. And you push a big red button that says "Make Jazz," and it spits out a new lead sheet based on some sort of sum of all of these lead sheets. And then we had a jazz combo come in and execute it and blow over the changes and everything, and it was pretty cool. And we had several other projects that dove deep just specifically on jazz, and we're thinking of having more of these very, very specific narrow events. I think we're going to have one based on automated music composition. We're probably going to have one based around all things microtonal. In June we have one based around music research. It'll be at Columbia. It's called Hammer, Hacking Audio and Music Research. What else? I think we're going to have a hack day where we don't allow electricity, just to see what happens, because we have some people who come in with saws and wood and make instruments, and we'd like to encourage some of that. Yeah, we're going to try in the future alternating between these sort of free-form events and these more planned events with a focused theme. So why am I telling you about this? The main reason is that I think anybody can pick up in whatever community you want and start a smaller version of an event like Music Tech Fest. Just get like-minded people, or maybe not like-minded people, together, people who are interested in the same subject, interested in thinking about music, get them together and just build some stuff. It seems like London Hackspace has a lot of the same thoughts, and I think there's room to do the same sort of project in any little town anywhere. And then the second reason is that, like I said, we're starting to have these specialized events, which includes inviting in guest artists. And so maybe this is the official announcement. We're going to be sending out a call for proposals for projects to do at our hackathons. They could be a one-day event, a one-day project, or span several months. And once we receive some proposals, we're going to try to do some fundraising around those proposals and bring people in from out of town, put together teams, get whatever equipment we need, book venues, whatever we need to do to make those, to execute those projects. So we've already got some funding on board, and we're hoping to really run with that. So if you have ideas, you want to come to New York City and put together a crazy concert of music technology stuff, put together a team of local scientists and musicians and programmers, send me an email. You can find me here, and we'll see what we can do to raise some money to get you out there and put on a crazy concert of weird stuff. That's the goal. So just really quickly to wrap up, I don't know how long I've gone here. Really quickly to wrap up, I just want to list some of the projects we've had over the course of the last year. So we had some 18-year-old kids from Cooper Union come with hacksaws and pieces of metal and pieces of wood and string and a fan and a couple of Arduinos and a bunch of laptops. And they built a wind harp, an aeolian harp, which is it was a rain gutter with fat plastic strings strung across it. And when a breeze goes across it, it triggers what's the word? It triggers, sure, these high harmonics of the strings, and you get this sort of like woo kind of sound. But there was no wind. We were indoors, so they made a computer-controlled fan, an Arduino-controlled fan, where they could control the angle and the intensity of the fan, so that they could actually play this wind harp with their laptop by typing in instructions for the fan, and it would rotate and change angles, and it was great. And then at the jazz event, we had this thing called the Jazz Drum Machine, which maybe it's too complicated to explain in this short period of time, but the gist of it is that it used the Echo Nest API to tag all of the segments of dozens of jazz drum solos according to their position within the meter and also their sort of spectral energy. So like it clustered them by timbre, basically. And it had this loop with dozens of drum solos all superimposed, but you could fade sounds in and out based on their metrical position and on their timbre. So you got this insane sort of lilting, sweeping sound that was sort of the sum of the nuance of all of these incredibly nuanced jazz drum solos. It was incredibly cool. Ben Lacker, who's a genius programmer and composer, put that one together. We've had scientific projects, like they took the LibRosa MATLAB music information retrieval tool set, and a group of students from Columbia came and spent 48 hours on 2 consecutive months rewriting that entire library in Python. And they just made it open source and sent it back to the community, and that's how they used their time. I'm going to skip through the rest of these, but we've had 14-year-olds, we've had 75-year-olds, and we have everything in between. It's a very diverse community. We don't have enough women, so if you're a woman, please come to New York City and come to our music hackathon. You're more than welcome, of course. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Go start your own music hackathon, please, and get in touch with me if you'd like to come put on some crazy art in New York City. All right. Who's next?